Coming up on the program tonight, how to stay safe on the water this summer. We look back at a busy year for the Waipa district, and the Salvation Army needs your help this Christmas. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 16th of December. I'm Hilary Entwistle. 2014 has been a huge year for the Waipa district, with the opening of the Avantidrome, a royal visit, and the 150th birthday commemorations. Anne-Marie caught up with Mayor Jim Milcrest for the final time for 2014 to find out what a couple of the highlights were for him.
Well, I suppose in terms of the year, really the highlight has been the royal visit. That was really fantastic, and both my wife and I really enjoyed meeting the royal couple, and it was great for the district, so that would really be a standout highlight. But I suppose some of the others are more the commemorations rather than the celebrations, and I suppose commemorating the end of the land wars and three significant battles that were in Waipa, with Waiari, Rangiawhia and Ōrākau, and really taking time to look at someone else's perspective on the celebration. I suppose we are looking at 150 years, but realistically our history goes back a lot further than that. And I think it was really timely that the settlement process is drawing to a close for some of our local iwi, so an opportunity to, I suppose, recognise the past and move forward. Yeah.
Of course, the royal visit in April was a fantastic event for the whole district as well, wasn't it?
Oh yes, look, and you know, and that involved the opening of the Avantidrome as well, thrown in was another plus. But both Robin and I were really surprised about the impact that couple had on the population as a whole. There was a huge interest, and I think that at the time Cambridge had put the biggest turn on that they'd seen in the country, which is pretty fantastic for a small town. And everyone they spoke to was obviously moved. You know, they were from little children through to 80 plus age, were all really emotional and blown away by the experience.
It really was a three-pronged approach for the World Masters Games, wasn't it? With Waipa District Council, Hamilton City Council and the Waikato Regional Council putting in that bid for rowing and cycling.
Yes. Yeah, it was a three-pronged approach. Originally, I suppose, Auckland had put in the main bid for the World Masters Games, and obviously there's a huge expense of putting on a Games that's probably one of the biggest sporting events in the world. So there was a reluctance, I suppose, from Auckland to see any of the sports move out of the city itself. But logically, with Karapiro world-class rowing event and now the Avantidrome in the same category, and only really 90 minutes down the road from Auckland, it was an obvious choice, and certainly that's going to add greatly to our economic benefit.
Looking forward to 2015, the Waipa district has a real issue with water. In fact, residents have already been asked to reduce their usage of water by 60 litres per person per day. Tell me about that.
Yes, it's at the moment, of course, people generally within Waipa are using about 250 litres a day, and that's because they're not on meters. Where our smaller communities like Ohaupo and Parongia, and most of our commercial users are already all on meters, and where there's meters installed, people are using about 190 litres per day. So you can only assume that 60 litres that you're talking about is actually waste. People are not being careful, they're not fixing leaking taps, they're leaving garden hoses running, and because they're not paying for what they use, there's a fair amount of waste. So whilst 60 litres sounds like a lot of water that you can't use, most people won't really notice any difference at all. So effectively, if we can get people down to that 190 litres, we can put off some fairly major capital expenditure, and that will save the ratepayers a lot of money, millions of dollars. So it's really important that we get control of the the water usage. Meters will also help us find out where leaks are. So from a council perspective, we have to manage our potential water leaks as well. So yes, it's a reduction, but in effect, 190 litres a day is more than adequate for anybody's use.
And of course, steady progress on the expressway will continue next year.
Yes, and that's looking like it's running well ahead of schedule. So if we get another good construction season, that should be finished well before the December 2016 program finish. But I think it'll be well before there, as long as everything keeps going the way that it is. And that itself will have another major impact on the district, and particularly Cambridge, I suppose, in terms of speeding up the time between Cambridge and Auckland. And we're already getting a large number of people from Auckland coming down, retiring or working from Cambridge.
Looking forward to 2015, what are a couple of challenges that the council may face?
Well, I think you've touched on the major one really in terms of water. We do have a fairly major capital works program both in water and sewage, and there are going to be some real challenges for us in 2015. We're moving ahead with building the library in Te Awamutu, and that should start early next year with the construction, and we still have to resolve the issue about the covering of the Cambridge swimming pool. So all of those projects are really going to test us, I suppose, in the 2015 year.
Of course, we are coming into the silly season with Christmas just around the corner, and we'd like to thank you for all of your contributions this year to Central News. It's been a pleasure to be able to catch up with you every month and find out what's happening in the Waipa district. What is your message to the residents of the Waipa district?
Well, thank you very much for the Christmas wishes, and we reciprocate those, and thank you for the time during the year. But I suppose, as you say, everybody gets into a real turmoil moving into the Christmas season. So I suppose the best thing I could wish for people is that they get time to spend time with family and friends and take a little bit of time to relax. The world seems to be just going faster and faster. So I think if you can spend some time with family and reflect on what a fantastic country we live in, and part of the country in particular that Waipa is. So look, I think we're phenomenally lucky where we actually live in the world, and safe and prosperous part of the world. So I think if people can just reflect on that and take stock before we move into another busy year next year.
For more details, go to waipadc.gov.nz. Up next, the Sallies need your help this Christmas. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. The Salvation Army is kept very busy all year round, assisting needy and vulnerable families with food parcels, budgeting advice and counselling. Anne-Marie spoke with Colonel Ross Gower from the Salvation Army in Hamilton to find out why there is such an increase in the need for their services at this time of year.
Well, Anne-Marie, you might have noticed it's Christmas, and really Christmas does bring quite a flush of requests and need really for people. People are obviously wanting to do the best for their family and wanting good toys, and we've just about got that one nailed. But the food, they want to get some good food on the table as well. So it's a seasonal thing.
What needs do people have at this time of the year that differ from other times of the year?
Well, many of the people that we work with come under immense pressure, peer pressure, and their children at school and bring the pressure home and so on. Little Johnny down the road, my mate, he's going to get such and such for Christmas, and there is a temptation and to try and match that. And we understand that that's not a wise thing to do in a budget, but parents want to be good parents, and so they do overspend at this time of the year.
It's not just food and presents that people require, is it? People get very lonely at this time of year also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Christmas time is a time when people like to gather with families, and for some people in our communities, families are just not around. Maybe they're living at distance, maybe they've been disconnected from their families, maybe families have passed on, and so they are lonely, and there's a lot of lonely people in the community.
How does the Salvation Army help the lonely?
Well, this year it's our turn. We share year in and year out with the Central Baptist Church here in Hamilton, but it's our turn this year to have a meal on Christmas Day for the isolated. And so 150 people are going to be coming here to this property, and we're going to have a lovely Christmas dinner for them. And these are isolated people. That's the criteria that we have for bringing people in. So it's going to be a great occasion, and we're looking forward to it.
How are those people identified?
They're identified from the community. They self-identify really from the community, and so we have a little bit of a check to make sure that they fit the criteria, and they give us a gold coin to just feel as though they're contributing to it. We don't want them to feel that it's a charity. So they come along, and going to be a great meal.
Do you have enough helpers for on the day?
Yes, we do. We do. We're always inundated with great helpers, but we're there ready with the number of people that we need.
Tell me about the extra pressure on the food bank at this time of year.
Well, as I say, Christmas is a time when we like to be able to journey with people and help them to have a good Christmas. So people who don't qualify for the meal because they're not isolated, maybe they've got family like the whānau around about, and so we give them food to be able to put on a meal at their place, and so that's great. That does run down our food supply, and it is really quite a challenge at this time of the year. Not just at this time of the year, I might say, because come February, March, when the credit card bills start coming in, we've got a great requirement on food, and that's the time too when our stocks start running down quite markedly. So it's not just Christmas, but it's through the year, and we have a need.
The food bank is quite well stocked at the moment, but that's only going to last a few days, isn't it?
Yes, it is well stocked, and we're very grateful for people to contribute and have food on the shelves. But this could disappear in 2 or 3 days, and of course, the whole idea of a food bank is not to keep it on the shelves, but it's to get it out the door and get it into families that are marginalised and need some good, wholesome food.
If people want to donate to the Salvation Army pertaining to this particular time of year, is it just donations of food that you would like people to give, or are presents required for children as well?
Well, we do have, in partnership with Kmart, a very successful toy drive, and new toys come in and they put under the tree at Kmart, and every other day we go down and pick them up and bring them here and process them and get them put aside for families that we've identified. So toys are pretty much catered for through the Kmart wishing tree, and full marks to them. A great initiative, and families in our community benefit from that. So that brings us back. It really is food. It's food to put on the shelves now, or donations that can actually assist us to restock going forward. And sometimes we need food that perhaps doesn't, baby food. Often we don't get baby food coming in by way of donations, but we've got to have it, so we've got to go and buy it. So donations of money is always helpful as well to restock and fill in the gaps for the sort of food that we need.
You provide ongoing support. You don't just hand out the food parcel and then leave them be. You're there walking the journey with them once you've identified a need, aren't you?
Absolutely, and we just don't give out food either. We interview everybody and assess their situation, because food is the presenting issue, but it's more often than not the underlying issue, and so we want to actually help people to address the underlying issues, so that food in the future doesn't become an issue for them and doesn't become a problem. So we have budgeters and we have counsellors and we have social workers here and all sorts of wraparound services, and we're in a network of other agencies so we can refer people on. But we do try to meet the needs of the individual as best we can.
Do you think the number of families struggling is increasing?
From our numbers, we think it's about the same. It's static. It's not growing particularly, nor is it declining. It really is just sort of staying as it was last year and the year before. So for all the work that agencies have put in and government has put in and so on, we're not making headway, we would feel, at this point in time, but nor is it ballooning out of control either.
How do we make headway?
I think we put more resources into helping people with the underlying issues. So I think some of those other things, helping more with budgeting, helping more with advocacy, making sure that people are getting all the benefits and so on that they're entitled to get. So all of those sorts of things. And of course housing too. Housing is so expensive that a big proportion of their disposable income is spent on housing, and that's a real challenge.
Does the broader community continue to be supportive of those who are needy and vulnerable?
Look, I think the community is marvellous. I really do. I struggle to find people out there who don't care. People do care, and there are all sorts of ways in which they care. I think that this community here in Hamilton and broader around Waikato and beyond, it's a great caring community, all sorts of ways. They reach out, they see a need, they do try to help and support.
For more details or to help, go to salvationarmy.org.nz. Just ahead, the weather for Wednesday and the safe way to cross a bar this summer. Welcome back to Central News. The Bay Plenty Regional and Waikato Councils released educational videos this year about boat safety on some of the region's toughest bar crossings. Amanda Harper found out what is the safe way to cross a bar this summer.
So the award was with Coast Guard Boating Education, and the award itself was for education and innovation and technology. So it was like a combined Supreme Award.
Excellent. Marine Mate smartphone app has been obviously quite successful, downloaded over 20,000 times. Why do you think it's been a great success?
I think it's because people are now into using smartphones quite regularly. The technology's moved along that it's now achievable for councils to be able to do apps. They're not sort of bleeding edge technology, and it gave people what they want. It solved a problem.
And how did the project all come together? Who had the original idea to create an app for boat safety in the Waikato?
Yeah, so that was my team. It was actually a bit of a throwaway comment. We were talking about when you go from different regions, if you go from Bay of Plenty over the hill into Waikato, the rules can change, and it just happened to be a bit of a throwaway comment. Oh, it'd be great if there was an app for that. And we sort of just laughed. And then we sort of started talking about it a little bit more, and we thought, hey, we could actually do this, and we went for it.
It was a bit of a collaboration on funding in order to provide a free app. Who backed the project?
Well, who didn't really? There was 17 councils, 17 regional councils and 5 central government agencies. The big ones being Maritime New Zealand and Land Information New Zealand, because they've got a lot of information that we wanted to make it attractive to users.
And it's been a year since the launch. Have you had to make any tweaks?
Yeah, we've done quite a few. The best thing about apps is that your users give you feedback. So we took all the feedback that we got from the Apple Store and from Google Play and used that to make the app better. When we first started, it was a little bit clunky, and we wanted to just get the information out there and get people to say what they wanted, and that way we could improve it and have it good for their users. We're doing a very, very major upgrade which is coming out in the next week or so, which is the biggest change that we've done all year, so we're really excited about it.
And it's obviously great for people using Waikato waterways, but what about other areas in New Zealand?
Yeah, so Marine Mate is nationwide, so it's all councils that have a responsibility for navigation safety across the whole country, And the best thing about it was that there was some smaller councils that couldn't afford it because, $5,000 can be quite a lot for some of the small councils. And it was really important to ACC that the whole country was covered because it's part of their accident prevention. And so they funded 6 councils to make it nationwide.
And so say that I'm going out on my boat for the day in the Whangaroa Harbour. Does this app have everything that I need to know, or are there some things that the app just can't predict?
Yeah, so weather's one of them. We don't have weather on MarineMate, and the simple reason for that is that other apps do it very, very well and already have collaborations with Maritime New Zealand for it. But if you're going out, then you'd start the night before and you'd check the tides, you'd know which time you want it to go out, you'd know what the local rules are, and where you can or can't do the activity that you want to, depending on if it's powered or non-powered.
Can you run us through the MarineMate app and how it works?
Yes, definitely. There's probably 3 main features. The biggest feature is the tide times, which people find really attractive. And the best thing about this app is it's the first time that LINZ has actually put the tide times out that have been adjusted for daylight saving and also secondary ports. So you check that to know when is the best time to go out, because not all boat ramps are available at all tides. Then you'd look at the local boating rules, and then perhaps at the boat ramps and the zones that you're going to go into.
You can go to boprc.gov.nz or waikato.gov.nz to view the videos. Right now it's time for our weather for Wednesday. Now looking to the seas for our marine forecast for Wednesday. That is the program for today. You can get in contact with us via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us, news@tvcentral.co.nz. Tomorrow night we have a Tatua Dairy, what lies ahead for them. Breathless Kiwis are risking their lives, and the household cat is killing our little blue penguins. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.